Big right hand.
Big cut.
By Rampage Jackson.
And that's it. That is all she wrote from Hercules right there.
Danielle Taylor throwing some heavy shots and ends the fight. Cutler is out. Insane airplane toss by Charles Krazy.
Huge knees, two huge knees.
And there she is, Ronda Rousey making her pro debut in excellent fashion. Jamie Colleen just destroying. Cutler says, no more, I'm out. And a quick look at our rules of combat based on 3 5-minute rounds and, of course, 5 5-minute rounds for championship bouts. And, of course, in the amateur division, that changed to 3 3-minute rounds. And, of course, 5 3-minute rounds for championship bouts in the amateur division. It's based on the 10-point must system, judging criteria. And to get things started, we'll go ahead and throw it to the cage.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our fighters are ready. Our officials, they too are ready. Reno, are you ready? Please welcome to the cage, Kelly Mckay.
Now making her way to cage side, Kelly Mckay. Mckay hails from Reno, Nevada, and stands at 5 feet 5 inches tall. She's currently fighting out of the 125-pound division, looking to pick up her first win here tonight. Mckay currently holds a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and trains out of Charles Gracie Academy of Reno. So more than likely in this fight, we're going to be looking forward to Mckay trying to take things down to the ground. She can hold herself in the stand-up well enough, but she's got that blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's where she's trained in. That's what she's comfortable with. More than likely, she's going to be trying to go for that early takedown. And now her opponent, Jasmine Fuller, is much more of a stand-up fighter, so that's, even all the more reason to just quickly take things down to the ground and try to dominate from there. We haven't seen much from Mckay, but we'll see what she's got as she steps inside the cage.
Here is Jasmine Fuller.
We the survivors, yeah, the Subboys riders. So turn up your amplifiers.
Up next to the cage, we have Jasmine Fuller. Fuller hails from San Diego, California, and stands at 5 feet 1 inch tall. She's also fighting out of the 125-pound weight class and also looking to pick up her first win as well. So you can say there's a lot at stake, a lot on the table. Both of these fighters coming in with fresh records. One of them's going to be leaving with a loss, and one of them's going to be taking that victory. Fuller trains out of San Diego Range Fighting Academy and West Coast Brawlers. She considers herself a diverse fighter, tries to train in as many aspects of martial arts as possible. We'll see if she can bring that diversity to the table, see if it'll give her the edge. She is suffering from a 4-inch height difference. She also has a shorter reach than her opponent, so she's definitely going to be fighting hard to get this win. Once again, we're here in Reno, Nevada at the Silver Legacy Resort and Casino. King of the Cage, Future Legends 43. Jasmine Fuller heads inside the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the women's junior flyweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Shirley. Introducing first in the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 5 feet 5 inches tall, official weight 125.4 pounds. She represents the Charles Gracie Academy of Reno. Ladies and gentlemen, from Reno, Nevada, presenting Kelly across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 5'1", official weight 115.8 pounds. She represents the San Diego Range Fighting Academy and West Coast Brawlers. Ladies and gentlemen, from sunny San Diego, California, presenting Jasmine Fuller. Once again, David Shirley is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, junior flyweights.
All right, ladies, we went over the rules in the back. I expect a clean, good fight. Come up, touch gloves, come out ready to go.
Here we are, round number 1. Kelly Mckay versus Jasmine Fuller. Starting the night off with the women's division to 125 pounds. And Mckay just letting loose right off the bat.
Mckay came in with strikes, immediately taking the back of Fuller. Fuller trying to spin into her. Mckay just dragging her down. Gets one hook in. Gets the other hook in, and a little bit of trouble Fuller is. That's in there deep.
It could possibly be it, but Fuller continuing to fight. Mckay, let's go.
Yeah, let that go. That was in there deep. Try to reset it up.
Mckay just continuing to let loose, deal as much damage as she can.
Just smashing away from the back of Fuller, just being dominated and overwhelmed right now by this landslide. Just an armbar for the taking if she wants it, but Mckay's gonna smash it out.
Just relentless, and we'll finally get a stoppage from the referee. Let's take a look at the replay. Mckay saw her target, executed it as quickly as possible.
Just relentless on this.
Great performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee in charge, David Shirley has seen enough, steps in, calls a halt to this bout due to strikes. The official time, 1 minute and 4 seconds of the first round. Derived by TKO, Kelly Mckay. Ladies and gentlemen, from the sensational Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the heavyweight division. Your referee in charge of the action, James Fanshear. Introducing first, the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 6'1", official weight 265.6 pounds. He represents the Mountain Fight Team. Ladies and gentlemen, from Browns Valley, California, presenting Robert the Outlaw Wentz. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 6'4", official weight 221.2 pounds. He represents the UFC gym, Rockland. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sacramento, California, presenting Tristan Big Chang Chang Once again, James Fanshear is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, heavyweights.
Okay guys, we went over the major fouls earlier today. Obey my command to protect yourself at all times. If you want to touch gloves now. Have a good show.
Here we are, round number 1. Bob Wentz versus Tristan Benett. And we'll get things started.
Tristan Benett with a lot of range. Wentz went to the overhand right, too. Wentz is in trouble, just bashing away with that right, and it's over.
Jeez, just like a bobblehead, just almost bouncing off the side of the cage. An easy finish for Benett. Let's take a look at that one more time.
Wentz marching in, eats us right on the ear, and then just continual rights to the ear. No answer for Wentz.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee in charge, James Fanshear, has seen enough, steps in, calls a halt to this bout due to strikes. The official time, 12 seconds, round 1. Your winner by TKO, Tristan Big Chang Chang Benett. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the lightweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Shirley. Introducing first, in the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 6 feet tall, official weight 152.2 pounds. He represents the Tonkin Fight Team and Freestyle Martial Arts. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sacramento, California, presenting Chris Reno. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall. Official weight 157.8 pounds. He represents the San Diego Range Fighting Academy and West Coast Brawlers. Ladies and gentlemen, from San Diego, California, presenting Benett. Once again, David Shirley is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, lightweights.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the back. I expect a clean, good fight. Touch gloves down. Come on, ready to bang.
Round number 1, let's get things started. Chris Rios versus Ben Sablon Jr. Sablon in the red gloves, Rios in the blue. And we'll get things started. Sablon
coming in aggressive as always. Throwing bombs up front, push kick. Gets taken to the ground, as we all know, he's a little weak here.
Rios now.
Passing.
Rios now looking a little bit more comfortable on the ground in that side position.
Knee on the belly. Devon needs to let that go and start addressing that. He needs to let go of that leg, let go of that arm, start pushing away.
Sablon struggling a little bit here. We're showing a lot of confidence in the stand-up. Rios just taking his time, throwing some shots in. And it looks like he hit the back of the head, an illegal shot. We'll take a little timeout here.
That could have been the best thing that Sablon has happened right there. Back to his feet he goes.
Yeah, doesn't have to worry about wrestling around with Rios. If he can reset here, do some more damage, he could have this in the bag. And it looks like they'll reset. Big kick from Rios. Sablon tries to return with a knee and just gets thrown to the ground with the leg.
Sablon in all kinds of trouble right here.
He's not defending, he's just taking these shots. It's only a matter of time, and there it is. There's the call. I mean, you're getting, relentless just shots over and over again to the head with no defense. You leave the referee with no choice.
Good takedown there from Rios, patient, and then when it's time, he just let him go.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee in charge, David Shirley, has seen enough, steps in, calls a halt to this bout due to strikes. The official time, 1 minute and 43 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by TKO, Chris Reno. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the welterweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, James Bench. Introducing first in the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 6 feet tall, official weight 164.4 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, from Reno, Nevada, presenting Ryan Spillman. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 6 feet 2 inches tall. Official weight 167.6 pounds. He represents Alpha Fits. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sacramento, California, presenting Aaron Greenhouse. Once again, James Banchier is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, welterweights.
Okay, fighters, we went over the major fouls earlier today. Obey my commands, protect yourself at all times. If you want to touch gloves now. Have a good show.
Here we are, round number 1. Klinghardt versus Spellman. Klinghardt in the red, Spellman in the blue, and we'll get things started.
Spellman with a quick check left hook. Front push hook kick from Klinghardt. guys are going scrappy-doo right now.
We'll get a little chance to reset here. Klinghardt moving in.
With a good check left hook. Overhand right catches him clean. Good jab by Spellman.
Spellman looking very calm, picking his shots, very precise.
Good overhand right from Klinghardt. Another straight right to the body. High kick catches him, low kick catches him.
Catches Spellman off balance there for a second.
Overhand right again just catches Klinghardt clean. Good job there by Spellman. Spellman ought to let go of those kicks altogether and let those hands go. Good job, 1-2, straight down the pipe.
Some great exchanges we're getting here. Spellman needs to watch that balance.
And a good left hook, straight right by Spellman.
These guys just tear it into each other.
Yeah, Klinghardt catches him with the right. I'll tell you what, Klinghardt can eat some punches. Exchange of jabs.
Another big hit, another trip. You know, if that off balance on Spellman's part becomes a pattern, Klinghardt can really use that to his advantage.
Double exchanging of the left hooks. Right uppercut lands. And another straight right. Spellman, Klinghardt walks right through that. Back hook by Spellman.
Klinghardt throwing a couple of his own. Now going for the leg. Gets the single leg, but now Spellman locking in that guillotine.
Klinghardt popping his head out.
30 seconds. Just hold him right there. Work that high guard there, Spellman. Be honest. Hold on, you got 15 hands go.
Trying to slide through right there is Klinghardt.
Feet on the hips, Ryan. Feet on the hips, kid. Push him on.
Klinghardt sneaky, bashing away there at the end of the round.
Nice little finish. Take a look at the replay. Klinghardt, you know, was a little rocky in the beginning, was taking a lot of strong hits from Spellman. Klinghardt really showing that endurance and toughness, taking a lot of those hits and just walking away, but finishing strong.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I thought it was over for a second.
We'll see how it develops coming up here, second round.
Outside leg kick from Spellman. That was Ryan's corner. I'd be telling him to let those hands go. That straight right really found a home in there. Check uppercut, left hook combo, backing Klinghardt off. Check hook misses again. He'd have shot that straight right after that.
It's a good head movement from Spellman, dodging those straight jabs.
Spellman's kind of content with the one punch, and Klinghardt's coming in with a bunch of them. Right hook catches Klinghardt clean. Over the top goes Klinghardt with an overhand right of his own. Exchange of jabs.
Both these guys just with some iron jaws, taking a lot of heavy shots back and forth. They're definitely feeling it. Klinghardt moving in. Some interesting angles. Throwing Spellman off a little bit there.
Overhand right catches Klinghardt straight, but doesn't follow up with anything. Spellman can put him away if he followed up after that straight right.
Right, just like you were saying before, he just seems pretty content with that one punch, which is doing a lot of damage every time he lands it, but like I said, just if he could follow through with that, he can really possibly get a knockout. And they're slugging it out once again.
Good check left hook from Klinghardt himself. No, he's not following up. Good jab, 1-2. Another 1-2. Pushing him back, catches him with an overhand right. Klinghart's now pushing Spellman back. Spellman on his horse.
Klinghart looking very light on his feet still.
Ryan's corner begging him to put 2 punches together. They know that second punch he's going to be able to finish on, but I don't know if he has it. Klinghart pressuring. Spellman in trouble. This could be over.
He's unresponsive now. He's not throwing any punches, not really defending too much. He's just taking it. Wow. Klinghart just releases the fury.
Tough kid. And it's combination after combination. It's a testament to his fitness level. Rocked through a bunch of heavy punches, but through throwing punches and bunches, finishes it. He was in trouble a bunch of times, and right there, Spellman started to get on his horse, and it was over.
Klinghart just relentless. He's able to finish nicely.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee in charge, James Fanchier, has seen enough, steps in, calls a halt to this bout due to strikes. The official time, 2 minutes and 31 seconds of round number 2. Your winner by TKO, Aaron Klinghart. Here is Ivan Contreras.
Ivan Contreras now making his way to cage side. Contreras hails from Carson City, Nevada, and stands at 6 feet tall. He's currently fighting out of the 160-pound weight class, looking to pick up his first win here tonight. Contreras trains out of Tasmanian Boxing Club in Carson City, Nevada. There he practices a well-rounded mixed martial arts technique. Now Contreras is a little bit more of a brawler though, however. That's where he's a little more comfortable. He's definitely got some knockout power. We'll have to be watching for that heat that he brings to the table. Now here at Future Legends 43, it is a specific all-amateur event. A lot of these fighters are coming out here looking to pick up their first win. And Ivan Contreras heads inside the cage.
Here is Neftali Guzman.
Next approaching to the cage, Neftali Guzman. Guzman hails from Reno, Nevada, and stands at 5 feet 6 inches tall. He's also fighting out of the 160-pound weight class, also looking to pick up his first win here tonight. However, this isn't Guzman's first time in the cage. He's got a little bit more experience over his opponent in this kind of fight, so that may or may not end up helping him there. Guzman currently holds a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and trains out of UFC Reno Gym. Now Guzman is at a disadvantage here at the reach and in the height. He's definitely going to have the powers working against him, but we'll see if he can pull through and pick up this win. Guzman is going to have to close that distance and really deal some damage up close and personal. We'll see how he does as he approaches the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the sensational Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the junior welterweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Shirley. Introducing first, in the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 6 feet tall, official weight 159.8 pounds. He represents the Tasmanian Boxing Club. Ladies and gentlemen, from Carson City, Nevada, presenting Ivan His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 5 feet 6 inches tall. Official weight 154.8 pounds. He represents the UFC Gym Reno. Ladies and gentlemen, from Reno, Nevada, presenting Natalie Once again, David Shirley is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, junior welterweights.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the back. I expect you clean the fight. Touch gloves now, come out ring the bang.
Here we are, round number 1. Ivan Contreras versus Naftali Guzman. Contreras in the blue, Guzman in the red. Contreras putting the pressure up against Guzman on the cage.
Guzman can take a trap. Contreras looking for some distance.
Now they'll split back up.
Contreras looks substantially bigger. Big overhand right, barely misses. I'll tell you what, Guzman's not afraid to stand in there and bang.
Guzman lifted off the ground a little bit there, but holding himself down.
By a pinky toe, maybe. Trying to work that head, trying to work on that guillotine.
He's got a little bit of leverage on that neck. And it doesn't look like a very comfortable position for Contreras. But Contreras
ripping that left hook to the body, though. Just dragging him down. Is he going to be able to hold on? No.
Now
Contreras on top. Half guard. Stepping over is Contreras. Real heavy. Size difference going to make a big difference here in that half crucifix.
Guzman in a troublesome position here.
Contreras just go to work with that left hand. This will be over. Oh, and that's a tough spot. They're going to stop this. There's no getting out of that.
Guzman trying to move that head, but there's really nowhere for him to put it.
Contreras is just a dominant position in all kinds of trouble here with Guzman.
Guzman trying to do whatever he can to get out of this, but there really isn't much. He's got to turn his body, got to twist out of there. Oh, and now it's even worse. Contreras just letting loose. That's it. Just full aggression and strength from Contreras. Let's take a look at the replay. And you pointed it out earlier, Sean, you know, that increased body size really did end up coming in handy in that control in the ground game. He was able to lock down those arms in that crucifix position and really let loose.
Yeah, Guzman was game, but he just didn't have enough power to get out of there. He was doing all of the right stuff, but Contreras was just dominant from this position. Just smashing. It's over right here for anybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee in charge, David Shirley, steps in and calls a halt to this bout after seeing enough. The official time, 2 minutes and 26 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by TKO, Ivan Contreras. Here is Darius Sturr.
Now making his way to cage side, Darius Sturr. Stir hails from Sacramento, California, and stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall. He's currently fighting out of the 145-pound weight class, looking to pick up his first win here tonight as well. He suffered from one loss before, so he's got a little bit of experience inside the cage. Stir trains out of Carnage MMA in Orangevale. Stir is primarily a stand-up fighter, a little bit of a brawler. See what he has to bring to the table, and if he can overwhelm his opponent, Dakari Turner. Once again, this event is brought to you in part by Lucas Oil and General Tire. King of the Cage would like to thank the Silver Legacy Resort and Casino for hosting this event. As Darius Stir heads inside the cage.
Here is Dakari, the Gunsmith, Turner.
And now approaching the cage, Dakari Turner. Turner hails from Lincoln, California, and stands at 6 feet tall. Currently fighting out of the 145-pound weight class. His amateur MMA record stands at 1 win and 2 losses. Now Turner's got a little bit more experience than his opponent in the cage. It's definitely going to show. But you never know, with these amateur fights, it's oftentimes much more explosive, much more action-packed right off the bat. It's shorter rounds, only 3 minutes. So I'm sure we're in for a very exciting fight. Now Turner trains out of UFC Gym in Rockland, California. Turner, again, is much more of a stand-up fighter, more comfortable in that stand-up, so I'm thinking we may get a nice brawl in the cage tonight. We'll have to see how it turns out. The referee now finishing his final inspection. Dakari Turner heads inside the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the bantamweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Shirley. Introducing first, in the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, official weight 144.2 pounds. He represents Carnage MMA. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sacramento, California, presenting Darius Stir. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 6 feet tall. Official weight, also 144.2 pounds. He represents the UFC Gym Rockland. Ladies and gentlemen, from Lincoln, California, presenting Dakari, the Gunsmith, Turner. Once again, David Shirley is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, bantamweights.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the back. I expect a clean, good fight. Touch gloves now, come on, ready to bang.
Here we are, round number 1. Darius Stir versus Dakari Turner.
You ready to go?
We'll get things started.
Turner coming out in that southpaw stance, immediately closing the gap. Tries a quick trip. They're having none of it. Turner with good cage pressure though. Double underhooks. Looks like he's gonna get this takedown, and he does. And it's just smashing.
Oh my.
Lights out on the slam.
I don't know if I saw that correctly, but did Stur get knocked out with that head bopping back into the cage?
Exactly what happened. Stur's fine here and just slammed his head against the bottom of the mat, and it was over.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 20 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by knockout, Takari, the Bonesmith Turner. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the junior flyweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Shirley. Introducing first, in the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 5 feet 3 inches tall, official weight 125.2 pounds. He represents Team Limitless. Ladies and gentlemen, from Grass Valley, California, presenting Alexander Taz Mosier. He is opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 5 feet 6 inches tall. Official weight 123 pounds. He represents the Wolfpack. Ladies and gentlemen, from San Bernardino, California, presenting Ben Monzo. Once again, David Shirley is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, junior flyweights.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules earlier. Expect a clean, good fight. Touch gloves now. Come out ready to bang. Let's go.
Here we are, round number 1. Let's kick things off. Alex Mosier versus Ben Monson.
Mosier coming out right in, taking control. Nasty little leg kick. Good takedown though. On zone. On top. Change elevation quick.
Monson, a very aggressive fighter, very strong ground game. Mosier, on the other hand, very strong stand-up. Monson might have done a little bit of research before this fight. Knew he wanted to take things down to the ground, but Mosier standing back up to his feet. Monson taking a hold of that leg.
Right into an arm bar. Stepping over. See if he can't switch that up to triangle. Lets it go. Trying to get back to his feet. Mosier. Turn into him. Create some space. Trying to work that single. Oh, had him up.
And these guys are just getting thrown around all over the place. Back up onto their feet. Mosier now putting on the pressure.
I was surprised Mosier had an opportunity to create some space and chose not to. Mosier, good takedown by Mosier.
Monson trying to twist that body. Mosier putting that back against the mat.
Mosier stepping over with one arm trapped.
And this isn't looking good for Monson.
Monson didn't even try and hip out there with that hand underneath.
Mosier taking the back. And this isn't a good position for Monson to be in.
Yeah, Monson just getting out grappled right now. Looks like that's in tight. Doing a good job of going 2-on-1.
You know, both these guys have just been showing some great careers in the amateur division so far. This is a great test for both of them to fight against each other here.
Trying to go armbar. Now flat on his back. He needs to get out of there.
Monson staying persistent, but Mosier looking to set something up. Just under 10 seconds left. Oh, wow. And that will conclude the first round. Let's take a look at the replay. Monson almost knocked out Mosier there at the end.
Yeah, they got aggressive. This is an aggressive round from the very beginning. There's a lot of back and forth going on here. The Monson just kind of settled in on top.
And right there at the end, questionable.
Ladies and gentlemen, the blue corner fighter did not want to continue this evening. The official time comes at the very end of round number 1. Your winner by TKO, Monson. Here is Mebratu Gobina.
Now making his way to cage side, Mebratu Gobina. Gobina hails from Elko, Nevada, and stands at 6 feet tall. Currently fighting out of the 185-pound weight class. His amateur MMA record stands at 1 win and 1 loss. We've seen Gobina before a couple of times here at King of the Cage. Very strong, very tough fighter. You know, he's good on the stand-up as well as on the ground, but if you get on the ground with that guy, it could be very dangerous. Now Gobina's got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and trains out of Straight Blast Gym in Elko, Nevada. And like I was saying before, he is very much more comfortable on the ground. He's got some great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu up his sleeves. Definitely not someone you want to wrestle with around. He's got a lot of weight, knows how to keep that weight distributed in the right ways, knows how to get into tricky positions that'll throw his opponent off guard. That'll be interesting to see him fight his opponent, Felipe Zavala, as Zavala is known to be much more of a stand-up fighter, a brawler. So we'll see where this goes. Both of these guys very big, have a lot of power packing. Mebratu Gobina heads inside the cage.
Here is Felipe Zavala.
Next approaching the cage, Felipe Zavala. Zavala hails from Yuba City, California, and stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall. He's currently fighting out of the 185-pound weight class, and his amateur MMA record stands at 1 win and 1 loss. So he shares about the same experience as Gobina, and like him, we have seen him a couple times here at King of the Cage. A very tough fighter, very strong brawler. He's definitely got knockout capability in those fists, so Gobina's going to have to look out for that. Zavala's also a very durable opponent. He can take a lot of hits. He can last a while inside the cage. Zavala trains out of Z5 Fitness. Like I said there, he trains a lot of striking. He's got a wrestling background as well. He does have some training in that. But like I said, he's much more comfortable on the stand-up, and that's more than likely where this fight's going to go. Felipe Zavala heads inside the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the sensational Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the middleweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Shirley. Introducing first, fighting out of the Lucas Oil Blue Corner, standing 6 feet tall, official weight 185.4 pounds. He represents the Straight Blast Gym. Ladies and gentlemen, from Elko, Nevada, presenting Memoratu Gobina. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall. Official weight 185.8 pounds. He represents Z's Fitness. Ladies and gentlemen, from Yuba City, California, presenting Felipe Zavala.
And we'll get this started.
Zavala coming out with that overhand rise. Down slow, both these guys.
Zavala with a nice little takedown there.
You guys that are watching this fight just getting started, this is the time that you get on your right hip. If you're the Zavala and try and get out just like that, you want to spend no time down there, especially with these 185-pounders.
Yeah, there's a lot of power we got going on in the cage right here. Gobina is going low, but Zavala getting that defense, sprawls nicely.
Gobina just relentless on the double leg, gets it. Might be in a little trouble here, steps over, one arm in. Sometimes Zavala needs to let go of that head.
Yeah, Zavala not in an ideal position to be holding that. He's only going to be wasting energy at this point.
Gobina stepping over. Need to suck him away from that cage. Doing a good job of using that headlock though to get up. Gobina switches up to a single again. See if he steps out and around. Spins to his left or maybe trap.
Zavala throwing some shots, doing some damage, staying busy. Gobina with another takedown. Zavala holding on here.
Gobina just relentless on these takedowns. Doing a good job of just sucking those legs up. See if he can't pull Zavala away from the fence. Gobina just trying to suck him up, pull him away from the fence, flatten him out.
Gobina continuing to keep that pressure going.
You just suck him away and drive through.
Coming up on 30 seconds left in this round. And the referee will split them up.
And right, barely misses. Gobina back to that pressure.
Keep fighting, boys.
Zavala tries to triple the zone. Finally a knee on the inside.
And that's the conclusion of this round. Let's take a look at the replay. So both fighters, I think, relatively even this round. Zavala definitely getting some points for defense, but Gobina got a couple of takedowns there.
Yeah, I think Gobina, with these 2 takedowns might have won that round.
Round number 2. Let's get things started. Once again, Memoratu Gobina versus Felipe Zavala.
Zavala needs to keep that distance. Be able to get these strikes off. Gobina again trying to take him down, but Zavala gets a takedown of his own. Gobina hanging on to that head, pops up to his feet. Trying to establish his choke. That might be in there. Zavala Zavala fighting it off, not letting him have the angle, but that's pretty deep. Zavala might be in a little bit of trouble right here. Benett could get his hips in there, and he's starting to. Looks like he's ready to tap.
Yeah, he's cranking it.
Doing a good job of sitting back down, taking that angle away from Benett. Benett can pull guard right here. He might be able to finish that. Let that choke go.
Zavala getting an opportunity here.
Position, trying to get that choke in there. Turns around to the back.
Benett showing some great mobility.
Oh, needs to get out of there. Good position, see if he can't step around and over the top. Dropping bombs to that rib cage.
Zavala kind of just holding on, trying to make the best out of the situation.
Benett just post up and let him go as he was.
Zavala not in a great position right here.
A horrible one either, not absorbing any punishment whatsoever.
Yeah, Benett really staying not as aggressive as he could be. Could be dealing a lot more damage, especially he had the headlock down there for a second. But
heel hook, look at Zavala going there with the heel hook.
Changing things up.
Those and I don't even know how long. Good step over. Zavala with the good hips. Now on the back of Benett.
And here's the difference between Zavala and Benett. Zavala immediately taking advantage of the situation, trying to deal damage whenever he can.
Benett. Legitimate punches right there, really trying to end the fight.
And that'll conclude this round. Here we are, third and final round.
Looks like they're taking a point away from Zavala for a little bit of illegal work. They're going to call time back in. And here we go. Marching forward, Benett. Zavala's going to have to do some work. That point's going to hurt. Just content to grapple right now, not doing much with it. That's double underhooks. As soon as I say that, gets a good takedown into side control. Pulls that leg out. See if he steps over into mount. Steps over into mount. Needs to get up a little bit higher. Climbs a tree, gets up there. See if he'll post up and do some damage now. 2 minutes, 18 seconds left.
It's the final round.
Benett on top, not doing much with it. Has a chance to post up now and deliver some damage. bit. Zavala trying to slip out the back door.
He's almost successful. Gobina showing some great control on the ground.
Final round, Zavala should be trying to get out of there instead of hold.
Yeah, I'm sure Zavala
chin and get out the back door or something.
Exactly. Zavala, I'm sure, wants to get back onto his feet where he's comfortable. If anything, he can hope for the referee trying to stand them up, but Gobina not going to let that happen.
Never a strategy. Anybody watching this fight, trapping and holding is never a strategy. Should be trying to do that. Or pop the hips, dig a hand underneath, eat one or two, and slide out the back.
Just under a minute left. Zavala's got to get out of this. Right now, Gobina just getting points for control alone. Zavala turning it over, now getting on top of Gobina.
See if he can post up, get those hips down, create some distance. Get a little bit of space. We're not doing anything from there with 10 seconds left. Got to get those hips down, create some space, posture up.
Gobina trying to poke here and there, but it's just not enough. And that concludes the final round. Let's take a look at the replay. Both these guys just fighting as hard as they can. Gobina trying to keep things on the ground. Zavala trying to get things back up to the stand-up. You know, it's a pretty split match. Can't really give the advantage directly to anybody. You know, when things were on the stand-up, Zavala was leading, but...
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of middleweight action here in the great state of Nevada, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge A scores this bout 30-26, while judges B and C score it 29-27. All 3 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, Mebratu Gobina. Here is Caleb Branson.
Caleb Branson now making his way to cage side. Branson hails from Reno, Nevada, and stands at 5 feet, 11 inches tall. He's currently fighting out of the 140-pound weight class and looking to pick up his first win here tonight. Now Branson is fresh to the cage. We'll see if he can prove his stuff here tonight against the likes of Landon, Trent. Now Branson is a fairly formidable opponent, especially on the ground. He currently holds a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and trains out of Charles Gracie in Reno, Nevada. So he's got a strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. He's also got some Muay Thai mixed in there as well. Definitely a very formidable and diverse opponent. Caleb Branson heads inside the cage.
Here is Landon, Boogie, English Trent.
Now making his way to cage side, Landon Trent. Trent hails from San Diego, California, and stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall. Also fighting out of the 140-pound weight class, his current amateur MMA record stands at 0 wins and 2 losses. So despite looking for his first win tonight as well, Trent does have more experience in the cage than his opponent, and that may become a huge factor. Trent currently trains out of San Diego Range Fighting Academy. Considers himself an all-around diverse fighter. And we've seen Trent fight here before at King of the Cage. He is a little bit of a mixed stand-up, mixed ground game fighter. I'm going to think he's going to want to test the waters out in the stand-up and maybe adjust if there's a need for it, but we'll see how it plays out. We don't have much to go off of with his opponent. But Landon Trent heads inside the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present this 3-round bout in the bantamweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, James Panchier. Introducing first, in the Lucas Oil blue corner, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, official weight 141.2 pounds. He represents Charles Gracie Reno. Ladies and gentlemen, from Reno, Nevada, presenting Caleb Branson. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight 143.2 pounds. He represents the San Diego Range Fighting Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, from San Diego, California, presenting Landon Boogie English Trent. Once again, James Panchier is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, bantamweights.
All right, guys, we went over the major fouls earlier today. Obey my commands, protect yourself at all times. If you want to touch gloves now. Have a good show.
Here we are, round number 1. Caleb Branson versus Landon Trent. And we'll kick things off.
Right. Trent. Branson closing the distance.
Dragging him down to the ground. Possibly locking up a guillotine here. It's a little loose.
One hook in, trying to establish that other hook in. Trouble here. Ooh, that's in there deep.
Trent does not want to be in this position.
There's no room to finish that, and that's it. It's over.
Simple as that. Branson came in with a plan and executed it. I mean, he started off a little stiff. I was a little worried about it, but immediately just went for what he was looking for. Got those hooks in, took the back, and executed that rear naked choke flawlessly. Landon Trent just struggling to defend and, can't really get out of a perfectly set rear naked choke.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 49 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by tap out submission via rear naked choke, Caleb Branson. Here is Brendan Ireland.
Now making his way to the cage side, Brendan Ireland. Ireland hails from Reno, Nevada, and stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall. He's currently fighting out of the lightweight class, and his amateur record currently stands at a fresh 0-0. He's looking to pick up his first win here tonight. Ireland trains out of Charles Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Reno, Nevada. Ireland specializes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. He's a mixed fighter, he's well-diverse, well-rounded. Definitely very formidable inside the cage. I'd say his ground game is a little bit better than his stand-up. But who knows? You know, those Muay Thai, those kicks are really going to come in handy. Keep that pressure on his opponent, Michael Christensen. Now he's suffering from a slight height disadvantage, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. Although it may prove to be a little troubling on Ireland's part. He's going to have to work a little bit harder, try to close that distance. The referee performing his final inspections now. Brendan Ireland heads inside the cage.
Here is Michael Christensen.
Michael Christensen now making his way to cage side. Christensen hails from Sacramento, California, and stands at 5 feet, 11 inches tall. He's currently fighting out of the 155-pound weight class, looking to pick up his first win here tonight as well. Although different from his opponent, he has had some experience in the cage before, so that may become a big factor in this fight. Christensen currently holds a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and trains at a UFC gym in Rockland, California. Christensen also has a background in wrestling and boxing, making him a pretty well-rounded opponent. Michael Christensen heads inside the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the sensational Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present our co-featured bouts of the evening. It is sanctioned by UMass President Frank Babcock, Regional Director Ralph Cook, Scorekeeper Steve Steele. It's in conjunction with King of the Cage Incorporated, President and Founder Terry Trebilcock Jr., Matchmaker Brian McChesney, Promoter Jeff Mahalik. The 3 judges scoring this match will be Terry Burton, Randy Partain, and David Shirley. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, James Fanchier. And now, Reno, put your hands together for our co-feature of the evening. 3 rounds of MMA in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out the Lucas Oil Blue Corner, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall. Official weight 155 pounds. He represents the Tonkin Fight Team and Charles Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, from Reno, Nevada, presenting Brendan Ireland. Here's the opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall. Official weight 154.6 pounds. He represents the UFC gym Rockland. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sacramento, California, presenting Michael Christensen. Once again, James Fanchier is your official for our co-featured bout, 3 rounds, lightweights.
All right, guys, we've gone over the major fouls in the back. Obey my commands. Protect yourself at all times. Keep your techniques legal. If you want to touch gloves now. And have a good show.
Here we are, round number 1. Brendan Ireland versus Michael Christensen.
Shot. Christensen punishing Ireland, dropping Christensen. reaching forward as he can, just diving into the guard of Christensen.
Yeah, Christensen was looking a little worried there for a second. We'll see if Ireland can capitalize.
Christensen working that high guard though.
Look to posture, frame off on him, let your hands go. You're in a good spot. Take a big breath, reset.
That pass. Those long limbs are hard to deal with. Finally gets that pass. Ireland in side control.
Pull him off the cage a little bit. Get your head out. Get your head out, Brendan. Get your head out. Now look to posture again. Get your right arm out for me, okay? I just need your elbow out. That's all.
Ireland continuing to keep the pressure. They're going to have to pick things up a little bit, though, here, as referee might be standing things up.
Trying to step over into that mount, and he gets it. Now he can go to work, dashing away.
Look to posture and let your hands go. Stay on top.
There we go. Ireland just posting up. Now he's dropping bombs. Sets in that rear naked choke. That looks like that's in there deep. Both hooks in. Going 2-on-1 is Christensen.
Just trying to fight that hand. Ireland continuing to maneuver around him. Christensen struggling just a little bit here.
Lost his guard, turned the wrong way, stepping over in the mount now. Let's see if Ireland can do something with this. 48 seconds left, plenty of time.
Sinking in for another rear naked possibly here. He's got the back. Ireland in ideal position. See if he can make something out of this.
Away. Oh, that's a no deep. This could be over.
Ireland sinking it in. He's kind of on the side a little bit, but it may work.
And that was it. With 8 seconds left, he was done.
Beautiful finish right at the last minute. Ireland takes the win. Let's take a look at the replay. Right up the bat, it seemed like Ireland knew what he wanted to do. Kind of threw Christensen off a little bit there at the beginning, and then just worked from there.
Just worked himself right into that rear naked choke.
Yeah, was able to take the back, was able to get those hooks in a little bit there. Had a little bit of a high elevation, and that rear naked choke was a little awkward, but hey, if it works, it works. Great performance from Brandon Ireland. And a good defense from Christensen, but it just wasn't enough in the end. We'll toss it to Dean Stone for the final results.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 2 minutes and 54 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by tap out submission from a rear naked choke, Brendan Ireland. Ladies and gentlemen, from the sensational Silver Legacy Resort Casino, Reno, Nevada, King of the Cage and General Tire present our featured bout of the evening. Sanctioned by UMAF, President Frank Babcock, Regional Director Ralph Cook, Scorekeeper Steve Steele. It's in conjunction with King of the Cage Incorporated, President and Founder Terry Trebilcock Jr., Matchmaker Brian McChesney, Promoter Jeff Mahalik, Timekeeper at the bell Terry Strickland. The 3 judges scoring this match will be Terry Burton, James Manshear, and Randy Partain. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Shirley. And now for all the fight fans in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Reno, let's hear it. This is our main event of the evening. 5 rounds of MMA. For the King of the Introducing first, fighting out of the Lucas Oil Blue Corner, standing 6 feet tall, official weight 185.4 pounds. This SBG MMA fighter has a record of 4 victories with 4 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, from Elko, Nevada, presenting the challenger, Mike Foster. Here's the opponent across the cage, fighting out of our General Tire red corner, stands at 6'1", official weight 182 pounds. This King Krav Maga fighter has a record of 7 victories with 2 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the pride of Sacktown, Sacramento, California, the reigning and defending King of the Cage, amateur middleweight champion of the world, Chris, the babyface killer, Jennings Martin. Once again, David Shirley is your official of our title bout. 5 rounds of action schedule.
All right, gentlemen, we know the rules in the back. I expect a clean, good fight. Touch gloves now. Come on, ready to bang.
Here we are, round number 1. This is our main event of the evening. Mike Foster versus Chris Jennings. Foster in the blue corner, Jennings in the red.
Foster just coming forward. Good defense going there. Jennings just slides him down right into the guard though. Closing up that guard is Foster. Jennings just working.
Jennings trying to stay busy. The referee may be calling for some more action soon.
Get those hips down. Posture up, get some real strikes, a lot of holding going on here. Foster trying to get out, dropping those arms though. You can't trap with your upper body and try and do something with your lower body. You've got to create space. Jennings stepping over in the half guard. Getting out, trying to attack a leg.
Jennings trying to switch things up here. Jennings landing some nice strikes there. Foster can't give up that back. Jennings throwing some big knees.
Work with that left hand, just smashing away. He gave that out and just doing work, smashing away, and it's over.
A quick call, and Jennings takes the win. He just managed to overwhelm Foster and take that. Let's take a look at the replay. Now, it was a little bit of a stalemate. Jennings was able to get that takedown and lock things down, but, you know, really didn't start picking up until right at the end there.
Work, and it just looked like Foster just held on to that leg lock a little bit too long and absorbed some punishment. It was over here just getting smashed away. Good work here by Jennings.
Great performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee in charge, David Shirley, has seen enough, steps in, calls a halt to this bout due to strikes. The official time, 2 minutes and 12 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by TKO, Steel, King of the Cage, amateur middleweight champion of the world, Chris, the babyface killer, Jennings Martin.